If you have an interest in horses and love learning more about horses, the horse industry, teaching, or even managing your own horse business, then you're in the right place. We would love you to join us on our mission, which is to improve the lives of horses around the world through the education of riders, handlers, and trainers. So get comfortable, listen in, and enjoy.
This has been another episode sponsored by Online Horse College. If you haven't had a look at the wide variety of equine-specific accredited courses, then go to onlinehorsecollege.com and I'll see you over there. I'm thrilled to introduce our guest today, Enya Crockford. Enya's a coach. She's a coach, competitor, trainer. She actually started coaching quite young. She started coaching when she was 16 and been coaching about nearly 10 years now. She loves to develop horses and riders to create a happy and successful partnership. She's an eventing competitor and currently campaigning a couple of horses and recently produced one to a metre 5 and soon to be going 1 star. How are you today, Enya?
I'm really well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, really well, and great to talk to you. Enya, we normally start off with a favourite quote. What have you got for us?
Okay, so there's a few for me, but probably one of the biggest ones is if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. And I think that really reflects my philosophy and approach to riding, because it is a tough sport and, you know, there's a lot of factors just outside your performance as an athlete, and basically you're going to be hit with low times a lot, and to get back up on your feet and, you know, open to your eyes to what's possible. And it's something I only took on recently, but it's already makes a very big difference to getting to where you want to go.
Give us an example of a door you built, you know, something where the opportunity didn't come knocking for you and you thought, right, I'm just going to get out there and do something about it. Give us an example of what you've done there.
Yeah, okay. So the middle of last year, I was in a situation where I had found myself in quite a few times of really a lack of good horsepower.
Yep.
And instead of being, you know, kind of struggling on with I had an off-the-track thoroughbred who was clearly not going to progress to where I would want him to. And usually, and in the past, I've always just been a bit of a battler and persevere. And suddenly, by shifting my perspective and going, okay, let's actually build some opportunities here, I spoke, it was actually a matter of just networking with people, speaking to people, and ended up with the ride on a really, really good horse. Same sort of thing has happened with things like sponsorship. Instead of just sitting there waiting for the opportunities to come, even if you feel a little bit nervous too, getting out, making the phone calls, getting people on board with what you're doing. Even a recent example that didn't go the way I planned was one really good horse I am riding is about to be sold, and I saw how much potential he had and had come a very long way in the time I was working with him, and I didn't have the funds to buy him myself, but I actually put together a bit of a video and a bit of a pitch and really rallied around to gather up enough people to form a syndicate. And I got so close. Yep. Unfortunately, it didn't quite happen, but it's just an example of the types of things you do to make it work for you.
Look, I think that all those lessons have been good. You've sort of gone around to find some good rides. You've got out there, you've networked. And even though you may not have had the confidence, you've had the courage to do it. Do you understand the difference? You might have thought, well, I don't really want to do this, but I'm just going to find this courage within myself to get out there to find the sponsors.
Yeah.
And that's a great one about the syndicate. Rather than one person having to pay all the expenses of one horse, if you get people in a syndicate, they've all got what they want to put into the horse. They can all be involved in the horse, be an owner of the horse or a part owner of the horse, but without the big expense of always having all the expenses for that one particular horse. I think they're great ideas and really good ideas for our listeners, I think, if they're sitting back going, I haven't got sponsorship and I haven't got the right horse and it's all right for all these other people. It's reach within yourself to find the courage to get out there and build the door, because opportunity's not going to come knocking. Yep. Really good lessons, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and I would just add on that it was a little bit of work I did. It was actually a personal development course I did last year. It changed a lot for me, but I really got that, even though I was scared and terrified of doing all this stuff and really scared of looking stupid is the big thing for me, is that that my thoughts about that didn't actually mean anything, and I was able to just, no matter what that kind of subconscious is telling me, I was just able to kind of ignore that and do it anyway. And that's
good. That's courage.
Exactly. It gives you that courage to go and do that stuff.
So be scared, but find the courage. Yep. All right. And yet, I don't just want a general thing, but a personal thing about a memory you've got, one of your early memories of riding and having a horse, or, starting riding, something with horses.
Yeah. Well, I have a lot of memories of falling off, actually, when I was younger.
Funny, isn't it? Yeah,
quite a few of them. Yep. Yeah, my first, it's all part of the journey. And my first pony, I remember we got a Shetland pony when I was 6 years old, kind of a surprise. My parents brought it home. We were very, very excited. And so me and my 3-year-old sister double denked on it. As my parents are kind of, just bareback parents are leading it around the paddock, and they're engrossed in conversation. And then next thing, my sister's lost her balance and she's grabbed onto me to keep it. And so she's pulled me off as well, and we rolled off the pony and down the hill, and my parents are walking along and still have no idea what's happened. So that was my first ride on my first pony.
Yeah, okay. All right, now to go from there then to be professional coach and trainer and to be competing at a higher level, what made you start along that path? Why did you think that you wanted to earn an income with horses? What started you there?
Yeah, I think I wanted to work with horses for as long as I can remember, really. Well, maybe, since I was 9 or 10. And I just loved them and I loved the sport. And it was funny because I was a very nervous rider. Falling off a lot does that to you. And
is that thing again where you might be nervous and you might be scared, but you're finding the courage?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it really is. And I used to tell myself, as a 9-year-old, I'd go, I'm really terrified of, jumping 30 centimetres, but one day I'm going to find my confidence and I'll do this professionally and, ride at badminton. Obviously, in a 9-year-old's eyes, that was all quite simple. But I just always told myself that one day it was going to happen, and I was just going to, I'll just keep working and I'll get there.
Yep. So what do you think then, because everyone wants to work with horses because it seems like a dream, because everyone wants to have that connection with their horse and that special feeling and being paid to do something that you love anyway. What sort of core skills or character traits do you think you'd be looking for if you were going to employ someone to work for you? What do people need to be successful in the horse industry?
Well, first of all, definitely hard work. They need to have a really good work ethic, and have drive. And I think passion is really important. Obviously people are passionate about it, but passionate enough to do the long hours and the hard menial tasks and deal with the setbacks, and to have an eye on the bigger picture of what they're doing it for. If they can do that, then I find that their work ethic is that much better. And also, just core values like having an attention to detail and honesty, and at the end of the day, have the horse's welfare as their main concern.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What do you think then is the best thing about working in the horse industry?
Obviously the horses.
Yes.
Getting to be with horses, every day and work with them and develop them in the process, form a partnership with them is just amazing. And, working outdoors. I think also the people in the horse industry really make it. It is a tough sport, and but everyone really tends to rally around and support each other. And you think, how many sports is it that you swap advice with and root for your fellow competitors, even if it means that by doing so they might beat you, but it's just such a camaraderie for each other that you don't see in a lot of other places.
Yep. Yes, it is a camaraderie, and everyone else is feeling the same connection with their horse as well, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We're all in it together and know what everyone else is dealing with.
Yep. Tell us about people or a person who's influenced you along and helped you along with your career.
There's quite a few, so I'll just keep it short, and obviously like for you really influential coaches and that type of thing. But I think my first dressage coach, who I only left because I moved interstate to South Australia, Ruth White, she just really gave me the foundation for good horsemanship and training horses and really treating every horse as an individual and taking the time to properly develop them mentally and physically, which also meant that you can get the best out of every horse, no matter whether it has a talent, whether it doesn't have as much talent, to still do the best you can with every horse you've got. So she had a really big influence on me. Another person is Gillian Rolton.
Yes.
I only knew Jill for about a year when I moved down here. Actually started adjusting my horses with her and having lessons with her, and she just, for a lot of reasons, obviously, her perseverance and to do the things she did is just obviously absolutely inspiring. And I always keep that in the back of my mind when I'm having a bit of a tough time, but also just how amazingly generous and down to earth she was, and her passion for helping everyone, no matter who they were. It was just really inspiring to see that in someone who was also, an elite rider.
Yes.
Yeah, so I thought that was quite amazing, and just as a role model and someone to try and emulate. It was she's incredible. And another person is actually the owner of one of the horses I ride. I mentioned before I'd done a personal development course, but she's helped me very much from a mindset perspective.
What's her name? Selena
Eden.
Yes.
Yeah, she runs a business called Equestrian Confidence. Kind of mindset coaching. But even before she had started that business, she helped me a lot, and I guess just gave me, as we talked about before, that courage, and the self-belief to actually, because I went through a few some challenging years there, and just to pick myself back up again and keep going, and I really credit a lot of that to her. She was amazing.
Okay, good. All right, anyone else, or can we move on to a horse that you think might have influenced you in your career?
We can. There's plenty of other people, so
yes.
better move on now. Also, obviously, a lot of coaches as well. So every horse I ride teaches me something. And some have given me more success than others. Some have taught me more than others. Some I like more than others. I think one I really have a soft spot for, though, is my first eventer. I got him when I was 14. I hadn't evented before. He was already 17 and he'd done a few intros, but, he was just a stubborn thoroughbred with lots of strong habits in there that, you were never going to break when he was that age.
Yep.
And he carted me around and took me out to pre-novice. And, so it was the first horse I really got a sense of what eventing's about. But, so just a few things with him. One is that, he wasn't particularly talented, particularly in his dressage, and just learning that perseverance and really to get the most out of every horse, no matter what you have. I learned so much from him in that respect. And what's also really memorable for me about him is he actually started to lose his vision in the later part of his career. He was 21 going around pre-novice looking amazing, sound as a bell, but things started to feel really wrong. And, he seemed fine in every other way. We couldn't figure it out. My coaches said, it's fine, keep going. And I said, there's just something not right here. He's not focusing on his fences. What's going on? And, by the time we actually discovered it was his eyesight, he'd still been around goodness knows how many pre-novices, barely being able to see the fences. And, it's terrifying to think about it, but I just think honest was he. He was just so honest and such a trier that he just kept going. Yeah.
Wow.
And it just makes you realise how generous horses are and how much they will do.
Yes, and what they'll put up with, and not having that communication, not being able to tell you. You could pick it. You could pick something was wrong, but, to just be able to continue the horse and the horse just keeps trying is just amazing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and obviously there's all the guilt that came after that. Oh, gosh, what have I done? But, you look at, I didn't know it before that. But, yeah, just to see what he had dealt with was amazing.
Yeah. Wait, can you hear anything? No? That's because we're waiting for someone with a good quality horse product to be advertised here. If that's you, then contact us, horsechats@horsechats.com, and we'll send you the details. Thanks. What do you think your proudest moment's been?
Look, I don't think there's one particular moment either. Like, there's plenty of, in the times you win and successful is always good, but I think it's really rewarding to have a horse come a long way, and be successful if they've been quite tricky and difficult to begin with, and the persevering has really paid off, and come through the other side. I admit there's a couple of times, I've walked back from the cross-country course a little bit teary and emotional, when a difficult horse it's finally successfully stepped up a level or completed its first event after, months and years of work. I think it's those moments that make me really proud.
Yep. Okay, thinking about the horse that's soon to be 1 star.
Yes.
What do you think his biggest challenge has been so far to get him to 1 star?
So with this particular horse, he's a great little horse. I love him. He's a Clyde thoroughbred cross.
Yes.
And being a Clyde cross, he is not easy on the flat. And so that's been quite a bit of work. And, it has its ups and downs. And so I just think just building his strength in the canter and that type of thing. Also his confidence cross country. He's such a careful little guy. Just, getting him to trust his scope, trust me,
yep.
Is it's been a bit of a journey. Yeah, but I think that's, but obviously there are things we're all working through, and it helps that I love him to bits. So
yep.
We just enjoy the challenge.
Good. Now, what about just generally thinking about where you are now? Going back 10 years, you were just starting to coach, and now you're coaching, you're campaigning horses, you've got sponsors, you're riding horses for other people. What do you think's been your biggest challenge getting up to where you are now? Has it been your mindset and that mindset shift, or anything else you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's my mindset shift. I think there's been a few I'd say there's probably been 3 different challenges over the years from the beginning. The first one, which I mentioned before, was my confidence. As a kid, I was just, very nervous.
To actually go over more than 30 centimetres, yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Even going over 30 centimetres was scary.
Yep.
And that built up. And, then even once I started eventing, then the cross-country jumps were terrifying. And it just went up from there, getting my confidence. And then, look, eventually that just eventually just resolves itself. You just keep pushing yourself, keep going. And then I think the second challenge was in my teens. Probably my biggest challenge was myself. I was very obsessive. As I mentioned before, very hardworking, very driven, and I still am. But took it to the point of obsessiveness, like I would do far more than I needed to, probably worked my horses far more than they needed to as well, which wasn't great, and drove myself a little bit crazy when I didn't ride as well as I would have liked. And, you know, that was obviously detrimental, you know. But yeah, I think that that's just a maturity thing as well. As you grow up, you start to see the bigger picture, and it's not all about your performance on that particular weekend. And yeah, and then the mindset thing, and a lot of what happened with that as well is when I finished school, I had for quite a few years, I seem to be one of those people who has like no end of bad luck with horses, getting sick or injured, and being totally self-funded. Every time something happened, I was starting at square one again. And I would say that was the biggest challenge, seeing all my peers go up and, you know, obviously I was getting to ride clients' horses and pursue that side of it and the coaching, which was fantastic. But, you know, not being able to pursue my competition career in the way I desperately wanted was really, really tough. Yeah, and it wasn't until this mindset shift that I thought, okay, I can think outside my current circumstances and find a way to make this happen.
Yep. So you think that's the main thing, the mindset to do with you? Well, I suppose it's education to do with your riding confidence. You know, you said that you get over it, but do you get over it? Because now, if you know you're going to 1 star, what happens if you go higher and higher and higher? You know, there's still got to be that bit of a, wow, this is outside my comfort zone.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. It will be quite interesting when this horse steps up to 1 star, how I am going to cope with the nerves. I think it's taking on that being courageous.
Yep.
Because it's funny, if you take on, if you kind of say you're going to be a certain way, it's funny how you can act in that certain way, even though your mind's telling you otherwise. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of going, okay, I'm nervous. I'll probably feel like I want to throw up, but that's fine. I'm just going to find that courage and do it anyway.
Yeah, and that's acting as if, isn't it? Acting as if I'm confident and acting as if this is normal for me and acting as if. So if you keep acting as if, then eventually, you know, your mind takes over and you just become that person who is more confident, who is able to compete at that level.
Totally, that's exactly right. Yeah, it's almost like fake it till you make it.
Yeah. All right, now thinking about coaching now, and you know, when you're out competing and coaching and seeing other competitors, or when you're coaching your own students, what's a common fault you see with people riding? And I'm thinking specifically cross country, but you might say, well, I can see a dressage fault that reflects within the cross country and within the show jumping.
That's a good question. You know, there's obviously a lot of little things. I think one particular thing that always scares me cross country is seeing people get in front of the movement before a fence. And you can just see that going pear-shaped very quickly if the horse were to stop or even stumble, you know, chip in an extra stride. Things aren't going to end well. And I think if you can be, you know, stay with the movement, sometimes even a little bit in behind the movement for your cross country, it's a lot safer and it's a lot easier to get out of trouble when things go wrong, because they will go wrong.
Yes. So it's riding with the movement instead of in front of the movement.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was teaching coaches, and I had someone there who was Korean, so English was his second language, and, you know, sometimes I had to say the word that he wanted, and he was saying weight. And I thought, the weight, you want more weight in the heels? Is that the right word? And what he's saying was just weight, you know, and say, because the rider was
with your upper body.
Yeah, well, just wait for the horse. You know, the rider was in front of the movement, and he was trying to explain to the rider that they were in front of the movement, but all he kept saying was wait, and I didn't get it. But what he meant was not the WEIGHT. He meant wait, WAIT. You know, wait for the horse. Don't get in front of the movement.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I find with teaching people, when you teach them to jump, like obviously you want they start, you know, approaching in 2 points, so they learn how to stay with the horse over the fence. But when, like I find with kids, once you're teaching them to actually stay tall with their upper body and go with the horse over the fence, trotting. We do a lot of trotting cross rails and that type of thing. So, and I find that's the best way for them, to learn to wait with their upper body until the horse leaves the ground.
Yes, yep.
If you're an equestrian coach or a horse riding instructor, or even if you aspire to be one, have a look at the free video series for horse riding instructors on the Horse Chats website. Go there now, have a look, horsechats.com.
Enya, have you got a book that you'd like to recommend? You know, something that may have been instrumental in your success, but something that's going to help complement their training?
I think it's a while since I've read any books, which is unfortunate, just a lack of time. But I think one really great book I read quite a while ago is Centered Riding by Sally Swift.
Yes.
Do you know that one?
Yes, I do, and it's actually one that has been recommended before from our listeners. Yeah.
No, I think it's a brilliant book, and the visualizations and the way of describing things is just makes a real difference to your balance and effectiveness as a rider.
Yep. And remember, you can find all the books recommended by our guests at horsechats.com/books. You can have a look at the guest page for the individual book they recommended, or just look at the recommended books by order of popularity at horsechats.com/books. I know you've got a horse that's going to 1 star. What else are you looking forward to? What's coming up in the next 12 months, 2 years?
I think continuing to work with nice horses and bring them up the grades. We've got a couple more in the wings, and obviously if there's any owners out there with some horses campaign, we're very open to that as well.
Yep.
Hopefully Melbourne next year, and possibly even Adelaide with this little horse. And obviously I'd love to ride at 4-star one day. With my coaching, I'm still in the process of re-establishing my coaching business since moving to South Australia.
Cool.
And so I'm just looking forward to growing that more and more, because I just love coaching. It's something I'm very, very passionate about. And down the track, I think I'd like to eventually do my level 2 and become a coach educator. And work with other coaches to develop their coaching as well.
I think as a coach, just as a coach, like you ride, you compete, you've got that partnership with your horse, and you might ride a couple of different horses. Then when you become a coach, you've got X amount of students that then you can develop them and their horses and their partnership. But then as a coach educator, you're educating other coaches who then go and educate other students who then go and educate their, students and horses. And so it's sort of, I think, as you become, into, I suppose, what does Spider-Man say? Like with great influence come great power, but I can't remember what it is, but you can reverse it anyway and say, right, well, there's probably a bit more power becoming a coach educator, but you can influence so many more people. No, it's not. It's responsibility, isn't it? With great power comes great responsibility. So you take on like the responsibility. Yeah. Not that you're doing it for power. You're doing it to be responsible and to be able to influence more people.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, at the end of the day, we want a better sport. We want happier horses, happier riders, and if that you're exactly right. You just have that much more reach at making a difference to people.
Yes. Is that your philosophy? If you want happier horses, more better riders and happier horses, or if you've got something else to add? Anything else to add to that philosophy?
I think to add to that, I think that's a massive one for me. You want the horse to enjoy the job and the rider to enjoy the job. And I think the other really big thing is just, for any career in riding, whether it's a professional career or, competing or even for fun, is just to enjoy the journey, because it's so easy for us to get caught up in the outcome of this result or that result, but highs and lows are just inevitable when it comes to horses. So you've just really got to remember why you do it, and, appreciate the learning curve and appreciate every day.
Yep. No, that's good. That's good, Enya. Now, how can people contact you?
Well, I have a Facebook page, Enya Crockford Equestrian.
Yep.
They can just send me a message on there.
Okay, brilliant. Or else they can contact you through, we'll put your contact details on your page, which will be horsechats.com/Enya Crockford, or just go to horsechats.com and search for Enya, Enya, or search for Crockford, Crockford. Enya, thank you. It's been brilliant talking to you. I've enjoyed talking to you and just talking to you about a little bit of a different point of view, and I really like the way that you talk about the mindset and how it's influenced you, not just with your riding and even just going over. I love the idea of the syndication of your owners as well. So it's been brilliant. So thank you for that, and hope to get you back again sometime soon.
Great. Thanks very much, Glenys. Great to talk to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now, if you're still there, you probably know that I'm absolutely passionate about education within the horse industry. That's why I host this podcast. My other venture is Online Horse College. Have a look now at onlinehorsecollege.com and I'll see you over there.
Remember that our comments and instructions are general in nature and do not take into consideration your individual horses or your individual ability and circumstances. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please leave your comment below.